Hi everyone. I have 2 or 3 things to share with you tonight, and I'm not sure that I will get through them all, but it's going to be a good one, and I'm so glad to be here. This is my new composition book, and I keep getting concerned because I don't seem to be in frame. And it looks okay right now, so maybe I'll check it again in a minute or two. So here's the composition book, and this is going to be a part of, sorry it's late, it's going to be a part of the Society of Idea Collectors. And I just love that. And so I'm just going to put a little square on the front here like the rest of the people did. And I'm very proud to say that this is the exact same look-alike composition book that Dee Dee Willingham used. Sorry, my glasses broke tonight and they're kind of sitting crooked. So this composition book is, like they all are, they're sewn. It's got to be great. A great example for how you make a journal. And the composition book, this is a little larger than the composition book that I used for journaling by 5s. And it looks to me like it's got a lot more of these pages in it. So we'll see. And to begin with, the Society of Idea Collectors is a group of people that want to set aside their ideas in one central area. So this is the beginning of collecting ideas for anything, you could say, for anything. I associate Dee Dee Willingham with art. Maybe sometimes crafts, but for the most part, art. And so the ideas that I collect in here may be for mostly art, maybe not totally for art. So I'm just going to put in the beginning here that the who, the what, the where, the how, and the why. These are the questions of those of us who seek to follow along Dee Dee's example for idea collecting. So any of the things contained in this journal or book or collection of ideas would be subject to these questions: who, what, where, how, and why. I don't think I left any out. These are the big 5 that I learned when I first began. And then in this book, I'm going to be dividing it up into sections like this. I don't know how many sections, but I could have sections and then subsections and like that. And each section will be things that pertain to my interests. Dee Dee says we have to follow our own interests. And those interests would be, for me, would be for the tabs. I'm going to put tabs on the separate pieces. My interests are, one, colors, and related to colors, I would like to have in here a color wheel. I can find color wheels by Googling it, if you know what I mean. You can Google anything, including a color wheel. But I'd like to have a whole section of things related to color. And then the things that interest me most. So I'll call this one interests. And I'm having trouble here because I'm not turning it sideways, so I'll just turn it sideways. These would be colors that are pleasing, set to the page in a pleasing way. So the first collage page, reverse collage page, that was about flowers and spring and the colors that go with flowers and spring. And if you remember that page that I did, there's more than one. But those are the things that I want to have in a section of this journal. And then, you know, I want to just go from there. I want to have a place in here for collecting things that for now, for want of a better word, I'll call them embellishments. And with that, I'll stop. You know, I'll just stop with that. I'll call it embellishments, and whatever that comes to me, whatever that means, I know that collage fodder would be a part of it. And that's what she covered on the last Society of Idea Collectors episode. I'll say episode. And then I would like to have some space for names, and not only of artists, but yes, artists, but also of people that are famous for their writing. I have a secret love that I've not shared on here of writing. And an example of that would be on Maggie Lockley's zine that she shared tonight. She's in a zine swap, which I think is so cool. And she swapped with a person, and this person is in New Zealand, I think. And she had a name, Frederick Niche. And that is a German writer. He's a German philosopher, German writer, and he's very cool. He's a little bit crazy, and super quirky. I'll put it that way. Frederick Niche is his name, and I kind of sort of love his writing, even though it's so out in left field. So I'm going over his name because I'm thinking about things I've read of his that are so different. I'll just say that, they're different. Okay, so colors, my interests, embellishments, that would be like collage fodder. I'll just write that down too. I don't think that that's the right way to spell that, but that's how it's going to be. Collage fodder. Names, and mostly of artists and writers like Friedrich Nietzsche, and Don Calvin did an ode to a different person last night. First she did Maudie, who does naive art. So precious. The story was so precious. And I think that the one she did last night was Margaret. Ooh, I should have written it down. I think Hearn. That's probably not right, so don't quote me. So anyway, I think that's real neat to do odes to artists. I like that. This person that Dawn did last night was the one that did the original Big-Eyed Girls. Gorgeous pictures of little girl faces, just beautiful. So so that's can you see how this thing grows? It just you connect one idea to another, and then another idea comes up and you connect that in so many different ways. So then there's something called a mind map. And a mind map kind of uses the who, what, where, when, and why. When. Did I write when? I forgot when. So I'm going to write when right down here. Who, what, where, when, how, and why. When. The when can be the time of the day, morning, noon, evening, or it can be during World War II or during the French Revolution. The story might be set during that time. So this when word is very interesting to think about. And it can change within a book or within a story. Or anyway, so a mind map. Mind maps are very interesting because it kind of does go along the area of connecting thoughts and ideas to each other. So you go off into a mind map of something like flowers, and you can map flowers. What kind of flowers, what color of flowers, where flowers grow. That would be you know, having to do with geography. So you would get all these things going on. So a mind map can be of who, let's see if I can remember this time. What? Where? These are the 4 W's, I guess you could say. Where, when. Then there's like how. I'm not sure about how. I may have remembered that wrong. And then there's always the why. So this is 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm not sure that those are the main ones, but those are the main ones plus 1 or 2. So when you have a thought of an idea, and you start to make your mind map, you would want to include these things. So just for an example, I would say my mind map is going to be about flowers. So I would want to write about, let's get it all in. What color they are, so colors. Where certain flowers grow. So that would mean like cactus, they don't grow where it's a tropical forest, rainforest. Cactus, they do grow mostly in the desert, or where it's dry, a dry, hot climate. So related to flowers, that would be the where. When we use flowers, we have flowers for special occasions. Flowers are annual. That looks like anal. It's A-N, annual, there. And I guess biannual. I don't know much about flowers. And then there's something called perennial. I don't know. So I would need to look that up and find out more about the when of the flowers that I would like to look into. And then we have where, when, then we have how. So that would be related to how. Flowers grow. And that would be what I'm thinking of is the giving tree. And it's kind of like a life cycle of a tree and a boy and their life together, and how that goes. Trees have a life cycle. Some trees live a very, very, very long time, like sequoias in our national forest here. And, or orange trees, like I have an orange tree in my backyard that I absolutely adore. And the only reason why I adore it is because, number one, my son planted it. And that's number one. He planted it so it would bear fruit for me to have when it becomes somewhere around Christmas. It gives a gift, and the orange tree is just loaded with oranges. And then in the springtime it has this beautiful smelling blossom, and it's just a lovely tree. So that's just an example of how, kind of like flowers, or now I'm branching off and branching off, plants like trees. When I change up my writing into printing, from cursive to printing and back and forth, it's because my writing is getting sloppy and I can't read it. So then why? Why would we have flowers? What is it about flowers? And that goes into all kinds of different ideas about why we have flowers, what do flowers do, how they help us, what they indicate about us. If you can hear my little dog that's running around with her toenails clicking on the floor, And it sounds like, someone said, it sounds like there's a rattling of a chain somewhere in the background and it has nothing to do with what you're doing. Well, it's my dog. She has these toenails, and sometimes when she's near time for grooming, which is right now, they click louder than others. So I've got who. So in relation to the subject of flowers, who has to do with that? I've got 3 and 3, that's 6. So of course it would be me. I'm asking the questions about flowers, and so on it goes. Flowers that my daughter gives to me. My sister-in-law. These are related ideas and thoughts. And now that I brought that up, I'm going to show you a flower that is one of the most amazing flowers. And my sister-in-law gave it to me. And when we did string art, you may remember, I hope that you can see this. This is a calla lily. And part of the string art turned out looking just like these blooms. I don't know if you can see that one or not. It's right under this leaf. There it is. I love them. I love my sister-in-law a lot. And she's just an amazing person for many different reasons. But I could not stand to not show you my calla lily, and it was because of the string art that I wanted to show it to you. I don't know if Brenda, my sister-in-law, watches my videos, but she sure came up with a calla lily after I did that string art. So this is how I understand the Society of Idea Collectors to go, this booklet. And these are some very basic types of things. I need to go over that so that I will be able to read it in the future, because I can get really sketchy. So, sister-in-law. Okay, now I'm going to close that for now, and I'll show it to you again. I do want to put an embellishment on the front. I may do more, but this is where it is right now. So this afternoon, when I had time, I went to the garage and I did the thing with my little envelope journal here that I'm making. And this envelope journal is the cleanest journal I've ever made. Because there's no tattered edges. I can't believe that. And so I'm just going to take my twine here, if I can find the end of it. Hopefully I can find the end of it. If not, I will cut it off. There it is. And I understand that you're supposed to measure that to be 3 out. So I'm a little nervous about 3 out, so I'm going to go twice that. And I know that you probably know how to do this. But just in case you're new, and just in case you wonder how in the world do we sew these things, these little envelopes and papers and things together, well, this is how. This is what you do. I have a hard time threading the needle. And if I have to get out my needle threader, I will. I'll try one more time and then that's it. Okay. Needle threader. Right away. Now, if you have gotten these little sewing kits and you have found a little thingy that looks like this, kind of looks like a key, but it has a wire sticking off the end. There. This is a needle threader. And I didn't know what this thing was that appeared in these places, like sewing kits. Okay, I need to remember how to do this correctly. It's late at night and I'm tired. So you put the little wire thing through the needle. My brother lives in Texas and they're having such terrible flooding in Texas. Where he is not Houston. He's near Dallas. He's about 4 hours away from the really terrible flooding. So there you go. That's how you use that. And so I'm just going to tie this in a knot. Some people don't even do that. And that's, you know, whatever you're comfortable with, that's fine. This knot could pull all the way through, so I'm not going to trust the knot to be anything big. And I'm just going to start in the middle, and you'll see it goes straight through. Because what I used was a giant nail. And I'm hoping that you can see that just fine. This giant nail. I took it out. I took it to the garage. I banged it with my hammer just like this. Bang, bang, bang. And that's how that went. And I get to, not only do I get a really fine journal out of it, made of envelopes, but I also get to get some aggression out. So I go in the middle, start in the middle, and this will end up in the inside of the book, like the inside, because I started on the inside. So, oh, I put the I put the knot on the wrong end. I'm just going to take this out. And then you'll just want to hold that. And then I need to hold that and make sure. Then I'm going to go over to this hole and I'm going to pull it through. And it's very easy because even for my fingers that I get to be in a lot of pain sometimes with my fingers, and then I just go through again. I went through this one and I'm going to come up and then I'm going to go back through this one. And it's just an envelope, so I haven't measured anything off. I haven't, which I probably wouldn't, well, I might. If it was super expensive paper and like that, I might get real particular with it. But there you go. And that's just totally cool. Come on. And then I like to go under. And I'm just going to tie the two ends together. And I'm one to do double knots. Not that it's ever going to come out or anything, but that's what I do, just because I do that. I tie my own shoes, and I do a double knot just like the children. So there are ways. Time to take these off now, and I keep them on a cup near me. Should I need to make an emergency journal? You never know. Now, okay, I have bits and bobs in there, and so there we go. And I just think that's more fun. Let's see. This is the one that has a little bit of tatters. I can just glue that down. I did not glue that down in my other journal that I painted on in the airplane. And the reason for that was because I didn't know how the watercolor paints would react to the glue. If some of the glue should seep out, it might make a, I don't know, like a little muddy spot or something. So I just go through the whole thing and make sure all the pages are where they need to be. And now it's ready for me to